Hello students, welcome to the last chapter of Science 2 for class 9. This is chapter number 18, Observing Space Telescopes. You are watching part 1 of the video. Children, we will begin this lesson with some questions which are based on previous knowledge. So the question is, what is the difference between sky and space? The sky is the visible portion of the atmosphere and the outer space. The sky is visible to our eyes without any equipment. Like we do not need a telescope in order to see the sky from the earth. The sky is that region where sunlight is scattered in the earth's atmosphere, making it visible from the earth. So, what is the sky? The visible portion of the atmosphere and outer space seen by our eyes without any equipment from the earth is known as the sky. Whereas space is everything which is beyond the sky. Space is that which is outside the earth. It is the infinite three-dimensional expanse in which the stars, solar system, the other celestial bodies, galaxies and the endless universe exist. So the space is the vast emptiness beyond the sky. Both the sky and the space are very vast. They do not have any definite boundary. However, the sky is a very tiny part of the space. What is meant by space observation and why is it important? Observation of planets, galaxies and other astronomical objects is called as space observation. There are many advantages of space exploration or space observation. To name a few, communication across the globe is possible. We can make use of telephones and mobile phones and we can contact any person sitting in any corner of the world. We are able to access a large number of channels and you know that these channels provide us with entertainment. We are also able to gather information about the news that is broadcasted in different parts of the world with the help of the news channel. Because of internet, we are able to get every information that we need at our fingertips. Because of space observation, we are able to get advanced information about natural calamity that can happen in any part of the world and thereby we can take proper precautions. During wars, it is possible to get information about the actions of the enemy. The GPS, that is the Global Positioning System, enables us to determine location of any place within a few meters. The weather can be easily studied on a global scale. The meteorologist can see phenomena like the volcanic eruption, burning of gases and oil fields, development of systems like the hurricanes and the El Nino effect which is very common. So there are unlimited applications or advantages of space observation. So to name a few here, I have put 3 points. Various space-based satellites help in telecommunication networks by providing us with television broadcasting. Meteorological services such as weather forecasting help in disaster management. Observation of position of stars and other heavenly bodies has helped in the study of solar system, solar winds, etc. Children, human beings have always been explorers. They have always been curious about exploring the unknown places. So it must have been deep curiosity about space that must have motivated human beings to venture into the outer space. From early days, man has been curious about sun, moon and stars. And with his boundless imagination, he must have tried to understand the sky when he observed the sky with his naked eyes. Man also noticed the position of the stars change with time and that it had something to do with the occurrence of seasons. As the knowledge of cycle of seasons was necessary for agriculture, man started sky watching. Also, you know that the position of the constellation helps in locating directions. So, the position of the constellation was very useful to the seagoers actually, or the sea navigators for navigation. Man began to make determined efforts to find answers to questions which arose out of his sky watching. So we know that we have made tremendous progress in the field of space sciences, technology of telescopes, and technology as a whole. So space sciences and technology are not only important for research purpose, but as we have already seen the applications of or the advantages of space exploration, the space sciences provide us with many comforts and facilities that we enjoy in our daily life. The first person who applied for a patent for a telescope was a Dutch eyeglass maker by the name Hans Lippershey. In 1608, Hans Lippershey made a claim that seeing through two lenses, which are kept one behind the other, seems to bring objects closer. Lippershey thus made the first telescope. But in 1609, the scientist by the name Galileo Galilei heard about the Dutch glasses and within days had his telescope designed. Galileo's telescope could magnify objects 20 times. So this is how Galileo's telescope looked like. Galileo used his telescope for space observation. He realized that there are many more stars in the sky than what could be seen by a naked eyes. So using his first ever telescope, Galileo discovered the moons of Jupiter, the black spots which are present on the sun. Today, 400 years after Galileo's use of telescope, tremendous progress has been made in the field of space technology. This giant leap in the field of space technology has helped the scientists to construct an astounding picture of the universe. Children, we know that light is an electromagnetic wave, and wave has wavelength and frequency. We have studied wavelength. The distance between two consecutive crests or two consecutive troughs is called as the wavelength. And the number of waves that are formed in per unit time is called as a frequency. We denote wavelength by the term lambda. We denote frequency by the term nu. So in this case, if you look at the image, the length of the wave or the wavelength is large. So since the wavelength is large, the number of waves formed are less, isn't it? That means greater the wavelength, lesser will be the frequency. So as wavelength increases, frequency decreases. But if you look at this wave has a small length. That means the wavelength of the wave is small. So since the wavelength is small, you can see that many waves are formed, isn't it? That means the frequency of the waves is more. So when the wavelength decreases, frequency increases. The sun is a source of light, and the sun emits different types of rays. But is it possible for our eyes to perceive all the types of rays? So what are the type of rays that are given out by the sun? This is an electromagnetic spectrum. This spectrum tells us about the different rays that are emitted by the sun. And which are the rays? The gamma rays, the X rays, the UV rays, this is a visible part of light, the infrared rays, the microwaves and the radio waves. So children, in the electromagnetic spectrum, you will find that the wavelength increases from the gamma rays to the radio waves. So here you can see that the gamma rays have a wavelength of about 10 raised to minus 11 meters. But then if you go towards the right hand side from gamma rays up to the radio waves, the wavelength increases to 10 raised to 3 meters. But if you look at frequency, the frequency goes on increasing from the radio waves up to the gamma rays. So here you can see the radio waves have a frequency of about 10 raised to 4, whereas if you move from the radio waves to microwaves to the infrared rays to the ultraviolet rays to the X-rays and to the gamma rays, you will find that the frequency has increased to 10 raised to 20. Now this portion, which portion from 400 nanometers to 800 nanometers, actually 800 nanometers, this portion is called as the visible part of the spectrum. So this is the part of the spectrum, or this is the part of the light rays which is visible to us. The other rays are not visible to us. Now you will find that starting from violet, the wavelength goes on increasing up to the red color, isn't it? From 400 nanometers it increases to 750 nanometers, actually 800 nanometers. So wavelength goes on increasing from violet color to the red color, but frequency decreases from the red color to the violet color. This table gives us the wavelength of the different types of radiations which are emitted by the sun. Now you will find that the radio waves have a wavelength greater than 20 centimeters. The microwaves have a wavelength between 0.3 millimeters to 20 centimeters. The infrared waves have a wavelength between 800 nanometers to 0.3 millimeters. The visible part of the light rays have a wavelength between 400 nanometers to 800 nanometers. The UV rays, that is ultraviolet rays, have a wavelength between 300 picometers to 400 nanometers. X-rays have wavelength between 3 picometers to 300 picometers, whereas the gamma rays have a wavelength shorter than 3 picometers. What is the relation? 1 nanometer is 10 raised to minus 9 meter and 1 picometer is equal to 10 raised to minus 12 meters. So of all the rays that are given out by the sun, which are the type of rays which we can see? It is only the visible part of the radiations or the visible part of the light. So we use the visible radiation telescope, that is the optical radiation telescopes, which are made from regular lenses, that is the concave and the convex lenses, or the mirrors, in order to see the visible radiations other than the visible light. So we need different types of telescopes. We need the X-ray telescopes, the gamma ray telescopes, the radio telescopes to receive such radiations and to study from where these radiations come from.